You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the November 16th meeting of the Michigan City Board of Aviation Commissioners. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Call to order Board of Aviation Commissioners monthly meeting, November 16th. Time now is 12:06. Members present, we have T.Y. Okeson, Kurt Hunter, myself, Jeff Bartlett, Airport Manager Jessica Ward, Airport Liaison Gene Simmons, and Airport Consultant Paul Schaefer for BF&S. Greg Poulin is not present. We do have a quorum. Reading of the minutes for October 12th. Everybody get a chance to look at those meetings that Jessica passed out. Any questions or anything with that?
I move we accept the minutes of the meeting as written.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries to accept the reading of the minutes, October 12th. Reports, financial, November 23rd accounting balance.
All right, so we're getting kind of close to the end of the year. This is one of the last months that we got to be doing this for this year. So everybody has their little balance sheet in front of you. Currently, our transfers that we're going to need to be made are into overtime, vacation bonus, advertising, liability insurance, sewer, equipment repair, and organizational membership. That's pretty normal for a year. There's not going to be any issues with transferring money into these accounts. We are going to purchase the toilet and the sink, the wall materials for the bathroom door, and new shelving units for the SRE building out of our building supplies, which is the little second set of accounts. We'll have enough to do that. We should have about $10,000 left in there for those purchases. We also are going to pay for the full or partial repair of the tractor out of our equipment repair account. Once all the transfers are made into the third set of accounts, we have about $12,000 in there. And that's just my guess, because of course we still have one more month of bills to pay. But that's my guess of what we'll have. So we should be able to make both those purchases with no problems. Aviation fuel, we got our appropriation, which I'll talk about later. So you'll see we moved up to $260,000. So we currently have $69,689.44. The only thing that we did just get a full load in both Avgas and Jet A. So we should be okay there. We might need to get another Swift before the end of the year. And maybe partials if the pricing is really good on Avgas and Jet A. I'll do a partial load. Especially for Avgas.
It seems like it's probably come down a little bit.
But right now, ours is really low, our prices, which I'll talk about next.
Okay.
So for fuel sales, overall, we sold 1,835.4 gallons of 100 low lead, 2,972 gallons of Jet A, and 282.5 gallons of Swift fuel in October. Our current fuel prices are $4.99. We got down under $5 for self-service Avgas. Wow. $5.19 for full-service Avgas. $4.24 for full-service Jet A. That stayed the same from our last purchase. And then $6.70 for self-service UL 94. It went down 5 cents.
Oh.
So that's where we're at for fuel prices right now.
6 cents.
I know, isn't that crazy? But yep, that's what it is.
That's better than the other direction, T.Y.
So we had a good month for October. We were up 31% in under low lead sales, 5% in Jet A, and 55% in UL 94. So that was a good month overall for us. That takes us currently year end down 15%, and we know that more than the 15% is probably from the Avgas not being out of service for so long. So There's nothing we could have done about that. But as you can see, with especially 100 low lead sales being up 31% over last year, you can see that we're getting back in the game. People are starting to feel confident and come again, knowing that our self-service is working.
Nice.
Yep.
Is it still that issue with the...
No, we've had...
That primer thing?
We've had no issues. No issues.
That's excellent.
I'm saying that very quietly.
Okay. Great.
Yep, everything's been great.
Still continue with you for
Yep. Fuel fund additional appropriation requests. The $100,000 additional appropriation for our fuel fund was on second and third reading, both at the council meeting on Tuesday, October 17th. It passed. Gene did such a great job. I appreciate him so much. And I just said the full load has been delivered for both Avgas and Jet A. So all is good in our fuel world here. Cash farm lease 2023 rent payment received. We received a $1,800 payment for rent for the farmland on the parcel south of Highway 20. It was made within the terms of the agreement. The farmer is currently harvesting the crop now, and I'll make sure to reach out to Halderman, Larry over there, and make sure that we're all ready next year on time for getting a new agreement in place.
Does he pay in arrears, or is he paying it for 2024?
No, he pays it at the end of the harvest season. Yep, so he pays for the harvest. So yeah, everything is great with that. No issues there at all.
Nice.
New Holland tractor repair. So working through central maintenance department, at first we took the tractor down there to see what was going on with the PTO shaft side. So they were not able to do the repair themselves there. So we had to have New Holland and Rochester come pick up the tractor from central maintenance. They took it down there, and they've had it, I think they picked it up yesterday. So it's really fresh. So I gave everybody, like the quote for the estimate on that. So you all have, and you can see what that is. So the repairs on the needle bearings that are out in the PTO housing, this is on the snow blower side of the tractor, and as you all are aware, the snow blower is necessary for our winter operations here. We use it to remove excess accumulation on taxiways, the tarmac, and then of course around our runway lighting. So once completed, the tractor will be delivered back to the airport. There are a lot of variables in the repair. This is like the most basic estimate, just because they don't know housing issue, they don't know gears that need fixed, you know what I mean, like costs and all that. So it's kind of one of those, this is like her best estimate, and we're gonna go from there as we go along. So of course I've talked to the controller's office, central maintenance, Cranston's involved to make sure that, you know, we're gonna be able to cover the repair. I think we're gonna be able to cover the entire repair out of our account, but if not, Cranston does have some money in his central maintenance account that the controller's office has already said we will be able to get into if we need it for the repair, because this is obviously necessary. It's nothing that anybody did wrong or damaged it or anything like that. It just needed to be made. We've been using that blower for a long time on that side. And that PTO shaft is the only thing we use it for, is that the brush and actually, I think the blower is the only thing that's on that side, because we don't use it all summer.
So the quote is $1,500, the estimate is $1,500?
So it's $1,500, and that's to pick up the tractor and drop it off. It's $5 a mile. The city does not have anything big enough, a trailer wide big enough to take it down there and bring it back ourselves. So we had to have them come pick it up and take it back there. We at first asked them if they would just do the repair in-house here at central maintenance, like maybe if like they could just send a mechanic up, but they said it's like a 20 to 40 hour repair, so they weren't willing to do that. It's like multiple days of traveling, and so they just said no, it's just easier when it's down there and they have everything they need to fix it down there. So yeah, so that's one. And then the second one is actually for it's a total basic estimate of the repair for what is needed.
That's crazy, $49.50 part, and then labor's $5,600.
That's because, yeah, she estimated it at the 40 hour, like that's the top of the hour, that's what she estimated it at, because she didn't want it to be way too low, you know, she wanted it to kind of be like,
Same as a week.
yeah, close as she could or whatever. So.
So like those big John Deere tractors, they're oil seals in the middle of that thing?
Yeah, she said they have to
Probably cost $100. They have to dismantle, they have to break it apart in half. It costs someplace between $15,000 and $20,000 for the labor to do that, to fix a $100 part.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said that's why central maintenance couldn't, because they have to take the whole front of the tractor apart. Like it's all gotta be dismantled. So it's like, it just was way above what they're comfortable doing there.
Sure. So what did we do that money for?
Yes, we will, we do have the money. I estimate about 13,000 is what we'll have left in that third set of accounts. And then central maintenance also has some money too, if we need to use that, we can. So we should be fine with the estimate, paying that, out of pocket ourselves.
So then, let's see, we have a motion then to pay the initial transportation of $1,500, and then also we should have a motion to pay up to $5,652.97. Come out that as the limit, and then if something else comes back, we can discuss that further.
Yeah, I think it's just, because the only thing that isn't on here is the gears and the housing. So right now, she's planning on taking the housing to, I guess there is some sort of shop that's close to them, and they're gonna try and fix like the part of the housing there. If they can't, she was gonna go to a salvage yard and try and find one there. Like, she's really working her best and making sure that we don't need a new housing, because she said the new housing is $6,000.
Okay.
And that's empty. 2 gears are fine, there's only 1 gear, she said, that is gonna need to be replaced, but she didn't have a cost on the part yet for that. She just called me literally maybe 15 minutes before we walked in, just to say that. So I called Cranston, and he's okay with, the salvage housing, as long as it's a good housing, anything to save money, that we can do to save money. So, I don't know, it'll probably be more than this is just the base estimate, so. Just throwing that.
Well, we need to get it fixed. Obviously, we just don't know what it's gonna cost.
Well, they've already moved the tractor, so I don't, do we need to approve that amount or?
Yeah, I don't know if approve it now or just approve it when it's on the claim docket, whatever you guys are most comfortable doing. But if anything, I think that more than this, she said that she put the full amount of labor in this, and that's even to replace the housing if it needed done. So she's gonna take it down to the repair shop, see if they can do anything for it, call the salvage yard, see if there's like a cheaper one, if one's even available, or else it'll be $6,000 for that. So we know that part at least. That's the most that it could be on top of this estimate.
Well, I move we accept the estimate of $5,652, I get that right?
Yeah.
And 97 cents as an initial estimate for the repair.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Hopefully that's it. Thanks, Jessica.
So do you want me to wait, if it is more than that, to come back to the board? Are you guys comfortable up to a certain amount more, if we do need to replace the housing? What do you guys want to do for that?
How much do we have right now?
We have 13, and we have about 13,000, and this is about, we have the 5,600 plus the 1,500, so
7,000.
yeah, so about 7,000.
I'm okay. We need to get it fixed, and so if it.
So you want me just to have that on the next docket? I'll email you guys and let you know, of course.
That's fine. But I'm okay
On
with
what the
paying
problem
more
is.
because
Okay.
to get it fixed.
Okay, I just want to make sure you don't want to like hold it up or whatever until next meeting or anything.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You need it for the winter.
And there's no one else that can serve. New Holland is the only one. They're the tractor. They own the one, way out on the east side of the state. They own Rochester. It's like they're all New Holland. They're the only ones that can do the repairs. It's not like I could go to a bunch of different ones and find out if they're
It's a
cheaper.
monopoly.
Yeah, and they just, this is the only place, this is the only thing. So it
And
just
unfortunately,
kind
it's
of
our
is what
major
it is.
asset.
It
at the
is,
airport. We need it for everything, so what are you gonna do?
we need it back before plowing. That's what we need it back.
The only things that I would add is that if they do the repairs, they would add some warranty,
Yeah, on the repairs.
So maybe a year or a year and a half or whatever. Because that's expensive too.
Right.
It is.
So, and you don't want that breaking down during the winter. So if it does, it may be because of their workmanship, and it has to go back for them to.
Well, I'm sure they'll cover those parts.
$49 part.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, we'll break it. Not the labor.
So that's it.
Okay.
That's a good point, Ewan, thanks. Yeah. Anything else, Jessica?
I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Moving on, airport development.
So on your agenda, approved runway 220 in the safety area of the runway extension project. circling back with NDOT on that project, they still have basically what I put in the CIP here with the major kickoff in 2026. So, with that said, that's when the program would kick off with all the utilities and so forth like that. It's a little while longer than what we obviously wanted. And before we even started the runway project, we knew that the pavement condition index of the runway was going to be a little low at the end. And we actually postponed a rehab to try to sneak the runway extension in front of it. But as that's going on down the road, I think we need to take a step back and maybe use the next year and some of the money that you have on the table to bring the runway back up to a service level that'll get us through the end of the runway extension, hopefully. So I think that, that project is still alive, but kicking off in 2026, when we get to the CIP, we'll discuss what that looks like and what Jessica and I have talked about, and what I worked up a cost estimate with some other folks on an innovative, inexpensive kind of Band-Aid to get us through 5 to 10 years of extra life until we get to the...
They gave us a little sample. You want to see the little sample?
Oh, the Grip Flex sample?
Yeah.
Good. While she gets that sample, on the SRE building, so they had an issue when they turned on the gas because the gas, the heaters wouldn't light up, the igniters wouldn't, so they still need to come back. They came back and fixed the heaters, but the gas company still needs to come back, turn the gas on, and they gotta fire the heaters up and make sure it all works. So we need to test the heaters, test the water, and then besides those, there's the water cover. There's a casting around a clean out for the sewer that they attach to out there. And it was never set in concrete or anything, so when they disturbed all that ground, it settled down, and it keeps settling down, and the cover keeps coming off. And so need to somehow secure that casting around the outside so it doesn't settle down, because Shane said he's adjusted it 3 times and it keeps settling back down. So those are the items that need to be complete. So as soon as that gets done, you can release the retainage, but that's where we're at on that. And hopefully the gas gets turned on real soon, because it's going to be cold real soon.
Next week.
So that takes us to the CIP, Capital Improvement Plan, and I've got the copies there with very small font on it for you. In this next year, so the runway 220 crack repair and surface treatment is what we are proposing to bring the PCI up on the runway to get us through. I did run this by Mike Buning and Joe Wyman. Mike Buning's the NDOT engineer, and Mike Buning's your program manager for FA, and they said they would both entertain it, that it's not a bad idea, and we've got basically the funds to do it. Right now, what you have in the bank, so to speak, including this year's NPE, is $404,495 in Fed funds. By the time you apply the matches, that makes for a $446,100 total project there. And then you also have your bill funding, the next one down, the Part B of that project has the word bill, the BIL, the bipartisan infrastructure. So you use the first year of bill to go towards the SRE building, but you theoretically have your second and this year's money. So basically $290,000 of bill funds. By the time you add your matches in, that's a total of $322,000. So we've got this $768,000-ish project. And where we're coming in right now is just a hair under 700 on the total project. And what the project's actually gonna be is, so on the picture, you can see all those, a lot of the transverse cracks on the runway that are opening up. And, you know, the thick black lines going transversely across where Jessica's crack sealed that before. Those are starting to open up greater than 2 inches, which crack sealant really doesn't work well when you start getting that wide. And so we would address those cracks with a product that's, it's called mastic. It's an elastomeric asphalt material where they squirt it in the hole. It has a little bit of aggregate in there. It's hot applied. It looks kind of like joint sealer, except it sets up instead of just being rubber and always flexible. It sets up and gets hard.
That's the stuff.
No, that's the stuff we're going to put on top. So we would fill all those cracks first with that. Versus the time you did crack repair right before we came on was a full depth crack repair where you cut a patch out like, all the way across the runway and then went down to the subgrade and built them up. Those patches are holding up wonderfully. The only problem is they put them in a much deeper section than the actual pavement. So the pavement around the patches are moving and it's creating little speed bumps. I don't know if you've noticed that on takeoff there. So the next thing in the project after we fill all those cracks, it would be to bring a diamond mill head on. It's just like on a little skid steer where they would go on those patches to take that edge off. Because, you know, it's like speed bumps on the runway right now. When you're going 100 miles an hour, it feels a lot more dramatic than even if it's just an inch. So we'd milled all that off, and then we'd also have to take the markings off, and then they would apply this stuff, which this is this stuff is called a microsurface or a porous friction course, and the FAA approves this up to aircraft 30,000 pounds. There's another version that goes higher than that, but I really want to use this Type B. It's the spec is P629, so they have a whole spec on that. Now I realize you might have an occasional aircraft more than 30,000, but probably not that often. You know, I mean, yeah, that gets you most citations. You know, most leaders, you know, if you get into the Falcons, you start getting over that. If you've ever had a Falcon 50 in here, which you could have.
Does that mean they just can't land on here?
No.
It's just they don't guarantee.
It means that if you have more than 500 of those, the FAA recommends a different product.
Okay.
And the main reason is because they haven't tested it with the heavier than that.
The occasional.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you have, and I don't think we have more than 500 operations of aircraft more than 30,000 pounds
No.
here. So this product though it's granite and like a granite quartz aggregate in there, and they actually lay it down with a box screen, similar to maybe like a chip and seal type of thing you do on, and it coats the runway. So you have to mill off the markings. This would coat the runway. The nice thing about this stuff, and the reason why I think it would be a great application here, is because it adds some durability, but it provides the same coefficient of friction as a grooved runway. So the planes will get extra braking credits out of that.
So this is going to cover the entire runway.
The entire surface, and it'll be pitch black, that color, and it doesn't fade as fast.
Oh, nice. Almost like a brand new runway.
It doesn't actually oxidize as quickly. Now, it will eventually, all the cracks out there will eventually reflect up through it, and so that's why this is only a 5-year plus or minus fix. But it should it should bring it up to a really nice surface for 5 to 10 years until we can get.
Well, that's good, especially the beating that it would take from snow plows and brushes and things like that. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, and actually the ironic thing is the material that they have that's for higher than 30,000 pounds has been known to be taken off with the snowplows. But this stuff, the plows won't take it off. So.
Excellent.
So I think this will be good. GripFlex is really, I think they're gonna really come in with a good price, so maybe it'll be better than that, because they are really big in Ohio. Kentucky is really, they're huge there. But they do not have this on a single runway in Indiana. So it'd be the first runway in Indiana.
Well, it's good because that lower Ohio Valley area, that's where you get all those ice storms south of Indy and all that stuff. So that'd be good having that extra friction coefficient value adding.
Yeah, and the one thing the sales rep said, because it does retain its black, the dark black color
Yeah.
for longer, the snow melt on it is really efficient.
Oh, that's gonna be good too.
Okay, so part of this, so basically it's $760,000 is what the cost of the repair and then the surface treatment. Is that about right?
Yeah, I mean, so that only reason I have it broken into A and B is because you only have 400,000 in NPE, so we have to use some of the bill funds. But between the NPE and the bill funds, and the reason I have it separated is because the next action item, if you like the CIP, then we're gonna have to submit a pre-application for that Part A, because it's due December 1st as well. But the bill doesn't have a deadline on the pre-application, so, but you need to break it up into those two parts. So I think for FA purposes, what we're gonna probably have is we'll have all the crack repair and all the prep work done under Part A, and then the actual surface treatment will be done under Part B for their purposes of their paperwork.
And our funds will cover that we have.
I think everything, I'm pretty sure, based on talking to this contractor, and I talked to another Craftco contractor on the crack sealing. Of course, they were out of St. Louis. I think there's people in Indiana, even Reith Riley can apply Craftco mastic that might be cheaper. So hopefully we can get it done.
Could Reith Riley put this stuff down?
They cannot. Well, I shouldn't say that. They probably could if they had the right equipment, but right now, the company that makes this is called Amersol, right? Yeah, they don't have their name on there, but Amersol out of Ohio makes GripFlex, and it's a special machine, special truck that puts it down. And so the contractors that put it in have to be approved certified applicators, and they have to have bought the machine, and there's not any in Indiana. So the company would be out of Ohio that would put it on. And they're working on a program. I said, it'd be really nice if you leased the equipment to local contractors, because there's a lot of good local contractors that could put it on. And so they're looking at that. He said that they were looking at that prior to help expand their footprint, because
Sure.
they don't want to be going all over the country themselves. So that would basically use up the balance of your NP and their bill. And then you can see the third item on the CIP. We still want to replace this fuel farm, and I was lamenting with Marty Blake and Bart about, hey, we got legislation that reduced the match on the state match, and we got some more legislation that helps take some of the funds from the leaky underground storage tank fund over and put it in the airport improvement fund, which is all great. And that was all new money into the thing, which was about $2 million. And so we thought that they were gonna have a call for projects with that $2 million, but it turns out that because there are so much money required to match on the bill, that NDOT needs that $2 million to match bill till 2000, what they're thinking, at least through the end of 2025, maybe 2026. Until they have a local call for projects. So, but talking through it, there is another program that IDEM has that is basically a 50-50 program. to fix underground storage tanks that have issues, and there's an application process and so forth. So there has been one airport that's applied and been denied because they said, well, it was really intended for gas stations, but we've got some legislators that are kind of pushing back on that. So that would be an avenue that I want to submit the application for that and see how far we can get.
Right.
And we got Pat Boy was one of the big supporters of IDEM's bills going through. So IDEM considers her a friend of the agency, but she's also our friend. And so we can have...
She's our friend as well.
Yeah, so we're hoping to see if Pat would be interested in having a conversation to help support this, because when you read the criteria of this program, your tanks are the poster childs. It's tanks that are in critical condition that need replaced at the end of their life, pose a higher risk. And so that's what the program was set up for. So I don't think they should, alienate aviation just because it's aviation. So we want to apply for that. So I went ahead and threw that on the CIP so that NDOT would know, and that you guys could kind of bless that idea. And then after this year, we get back into the runway year, because we paused on priority number 4, the whole letting documents for the final tracing, the storm sewer, the temporary road. We have an agreement already in place, but we paused it and stopped working on it until we had a better feel. So they're showing the money for that, the 4.8 million is the utilities, and the 2.6 million. Well, our total is more than what they show. They show 4 million. We're showing almost 7 million. So we need more money than what they've got, but they do have a chunk of money in their program, $4 million in 26. So for next year, we'll pick back up on all the professional services to do the runway extension. And then you'll see in there that I put the fuel farm in again, but this one, it's got type 2 funding, which is that state program. I figure if the IDEM process is successful, then next year when we do the CIP, we'll just pull that out. But if it's not successful, then we'll have that in as the backup funding mechanism. And then if they still don't have money in 25 to do the 75-25 NDOT type 2 funding, then you'll see I've got the fuel farm. I thought I had the fuel farm
You
in
do,
there.
under
Yeah,
bill.
the bill, yeah. Priority number 8. I've got it in there again. And so
They know we're serious about this project.
yeah, now the only thing with this, you'll notice that you'll only have 266,000 in bill left at that time. So, and then the state would match 44,000. They'll match 5% on a 90% share of the feds. But that makes your local match the highest out of any of these scenarios on funding the fuel system. So that's why I put it last. But in the event in 2026, if we don't have it funded by one of those other means, then we'll talk to, because the council's already appropriated 800 and change on this, but when we pitched the council, we pitched it as basically a 90% share you would be getting reimbursed for.
Right.
And that's just not the case. When the FAA came back, they determined it 30% eligible. And so of that, that gets down to these types of numbers here on this bill. So before we'd ever actually issue any of these, we would have to go back to the council too and say, hey, the local share on this is different than what we said. Can we proceed forward with a different match? So those are all the fuel farm ideas, and then beyond the fuel farm, it's just all runway all the time until it's done, and then you get to right after the runway, the parallel taxiway, trying to get it overlaid and back up the speed,
I
so.
know this is our plan, and our focus of going forward and what we want to do. What's the state? Are they on plan?
Well, that's
Budgets and getting their South Bend and Indianapolis airport done, 'cause I know they took funds away from us to go ahead and take care of that.
not just, every GA airport in the state kind of affected that. I mean, there were really only 4 airports that got funded beyond the air carriers last year. Yeah, so right now they're showing $4 million towards your temporary road and utility relocation in 2026.
Okay.
That doesn't even fund the utilities, but they do have a chunk of money in there.
Okay.
And so when they show money in there, anything above your entitlement, when they show that in there, that's called discretionary. And the discretionary is a moving target. When you actually get all your pricing in and your bids and you turn in your application, if you need more, the request can go up. If it needs less, it can go down. But you have to be on that discretionary list to be in the game. And so what they're saying is
They're serious.
in 2026, you should be in the game.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Now, but of course, the world
No, don't say anything.
is
Just leave
complicated.
it.
Okay.
Just stop.
In the perfect world.
Right. I mean, we have an election coming up, and we do not have, for this year, even for the grants we're going to apply for, we don't have spending authorization because the Enabling Act for Aviation expired in September. So right now, we do not even have a bill, and we don't have even we don't even have a continuing resolution. A lot of times they'll pass a continuing resolution for 6 months or 3 months or something that enable you to spend at the prior level until a new bill is in place. But we don't even have that because they've got other issues in Congress now. But there was a draft before all the other issues started flaring up. There was a draft of a new Enabling Act that came out of the House subcommittee, Transportation Subcommittee, that had an extra $1 billion in the program. So it was going to go from 3.2 to like 4.2-ish billion, which is certainly not enough to keep up with inflation since we haven't had an increase in 23 years. But it's better than nothing. So that extra $1 billion will certainly help on projects like this because it's, it's. So while we don't have a spending bill, the bill that's been proposed and went to the Senate's committee is a lot better bill than we had in prior years. So it could, who knows? The bad news is it's stuck in Congress, and who knows when they'll do anything. And that's the bad news. But the good news is the bill that they are considering does have an increase in it. So.
Okay. Thank you. So we need 3 things then from you. A motion for the 2024-2029 capital improvement plan, and then number 2 and 3 to approve the fiscal year pre-app, and then also the financial report, correct?
Yeah, the number 2, the pre-app, is going to be basically line item 1 on the CIP. And item 3, that's just a housekeeping thing we do at the end of every year that the FAA has us do. It says it's a report on how many federal dollars came through the program in 1 year.
Okay.
So you're going to have the SRE building on there.
All right.
I move we accept the 2024-2029 capital improvement plan as written.
Is there a second? A second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Put my tea.
Is there also a motion now to approve the fiscal year 2024 pre-application for runway 220 crack repair and surface treatment part A with the NPE?
I move we approve the submission of the fiscal year 2024 pre-application for the runway 220 crash repair and surface treatment as Paul outlined.
Is there a second? A second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. And the last one, is there a motion to submit the year-end federal financial report, SF 425 form to the FAA? Go ahead, Kurt. Sorry.
I move we submit the year-end Federal financial report as required, SF 425 form to the FAA.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Paul, for everything that you do. Keep you informed downstate.
Yeah.
Let the record reflect that our tanks aren't leaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're great.
Yeah.
There's no problems right now.
And also, again, thank you for hosting and supporting us at the Mayor's Ball last,
That was very
so thank you.
nice.
Yeah, hopefully they raise some good, a lot of money for a good cause.
They did, it was pretty
Yeah.
good, yes.
So good.
Although, well, yes.
Oh, gosh. Everybody's on their best behavior today, I'm so happy.
Moving on, any old business? None. New business, Department of Waterworks access permission request for the parcel ID as described here.
Yes, here it is, so, we got lots of things. The request is for access to the parcel, and that's the land south that we purchased, south of US 20. The water department, they're gonna put a water main extension that goes out to the Olmsted property, across from Swan Lake. So that is the goal of the whole thing. So they are just requesting, to access the property to just do survey work. They need to do like a water delineation and all this other stuff. So Haas and Associates is gonna come out and do the survey work. It's gonna be minimal ingress on, the property to where they're farming, because I was worried I didn't want them in the crops that are being harvested. They won't go that far, it's not gonna affect that at all. They'll come out immediately after this has been approved. Our board meeting got pushed back another week, of course. And so he called me yesterday, he's like, please tell me you're meeting tomorrow. So,
And it's all foot traffic too, right? They're
it is,
driving
correct.
vehicles,
And so I already sent it to Paul, I sent it to Bill. Bill said that he's gonna go along with what Paul thinks. Paul is giving it his blessing. So I think that there's no reason to say no to this.
And even if they had to go in the crops, it's foot traffic. I don't think they're stopping on anything.
Yeah, and they won't. He said they're not gonna even access that, so,
I'm
yeah.
good with that.
Now, what's the water main is gonna service the Olmsted property? or-
Yeah, it's gonna go down the road, down 20 there. So, but we have their easement already, like on this property. This property right here.
Yeah.
This is like an easement right here. They have an easement of like, it's pretty much like this whole section.
Yeah.
Right here. Wait, is this fence?
Yeah.
No, so this is it. It's,
Yeah, it goes
it's
along-
right here along the outside of the
Yeah,
fence.
if 212 were to go straight north
Correct.
and south and follow that.
And where's that water thing gonna be?
It's gonna go straight across and it's gonna go, straight down 20 to go towards that homestead
Oh,
property.
yeah,
across the
here's
side.
the small
Yeah,
lake area, so I imagine it's straight.
yep, so it's gonna come from like right here and it's just gonna go straight down.
And talking to our water guys, they knew that they had plans to expand that line.
Yeah, cause it's annexed. The city already annexed that property a while ago. This was supposed to already be done
Yeah, that's
quite a while ago, so.
McDonald's
Yeah,
annexation,
yep.
420 some acres. We're waiting for that.
So yeah, they just need to do survey work, but they're gonna ask us for another easement eventually.
Housing,
Not right now.
industrial, commercial,
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
Do we have
It's
to
getting bigger and better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we give them full access to do their work, whatever work it is.
I second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. That completes new business. Any claims? Docket.
Yes, I just like that. Like, get some of that? No.
Do we have a chance to take a look at it? I didn't see anything there that popped out that was anything different than before.
Took that payment to Jessica.
For $12.99 for coffee filters. I will not spend that all in one place.
I move the claims docket be accepted as written.
Is there a second? Motion carries. Thank you. That completes today's meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn? Actually, no, there's no public comment. There's no public comment here. Yes, go ahead.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.